Welcome to the Munro Review, where it's all about connecting, sharing, and valuing the arts in the Central San Joaquin Valley. I'm Donald Munro. Today is February 23rd, and I'm coming to you from the CMAC studio in downtown Fresno. Talk about a busy time on the culture scene. We are going to be focusing today on two major topics. The first is the world-famous Rogue Festival, and the second is the theater scene in late February and March. We've got some great guests for you, and we're going to try to help you narrow down some of those culture decisions you might have to make, especially when it comes to theater. But first, let's take a look at some of what we've been covering on MunroReview.com. Biggest story, of course, is also pretty shocking. We have covered Measure P for years, and reporter Doug Hoagland has become an expert on the issue. He's written more than 50 stories about Measure P, the city's sales tax, in which part of the money goes to the arts. Up until a few weeks ago, passing out that money was the responsibility of the Fresno Arts Council, a nonprofit organization specifically mentioned in the Measure P initiative. A few weeks ago, some shocking news broke. An employee of the Fresno Arts Council is suspected of embezzling $1.5 million in taxpayer money that was supposed to be going to arts organizations and individual artists. The FBI and Fresno Police Department are supposedly involved, although there hasn't been an arrest made. All we know is that the perpetrator no longer is employed by the Fresno Arts Council. Now, you can imagine the chaos. The city of Fresno terminated its contract with the Fresno Arts Council to administer the Measure P funds, but that leaves a big hole in terms of how the next cycle of grants, which is already late, is going to be distributed. What makes this even stickier is that some grant recipients have already received the funding they were promised. 98 of the winning grants for the 2025-26 funding cycle were paid out, but more than 30 grant winners received nothing. And it looks like all the grant recipients will lose money, at least in the short term. That's because the Measure P grants are set up in a way that 90% of the funding of the award is paid up front, and 10% is held in reserve until the end of the year. Ironically, the reason for that 10% is to ensure that the recipients don't commit any financial irregularities. Well, you guessed it, looks like that 10% is part of the money that got embezzled. So how does the situation stand? At the moment, there are so many unanswered questions. How will the city in such a short time develop the infrastructure to award more than $7 million in grants for the next cycle, which is already behind schedule, as you recall? Another question is, what will happen to the Fresno Arts Council, the board of directors, which ultimately has the fiduciary responsibility for the organization, has gone completely silent. Probably the biggest question, will that $1.5 million or some portion of it ever be recovered? If not, it will be the artists who might pay in the long run because the money might have to come out of next year's grants. I encourage all of you to take a look at Doug Hoagland's Measure P stories on the Munro Review, including his most recent one in which he updates the situation. Doug's careful, fact-checked reporting is essential for art citizens to keep informed. There are lots of other great recent stories on the Munro Review, including my takedown of the City of Fresno parking garage for the way it flubbed the opening night of Beetlejuice the Musical at the Soroyan Theater. Plus, we have reviews of Good Company's Mary Poppins, the teen edition of the musical Six at Children's Musical Theater Works, and, of course, lots of Rogue coverage. Speaking of which, let's welcome our own Heather Parish, resident Rogue expert, who is here to talk us through this wonderful annual event. So do you wake up in the morning and sense something different in the air? Do you feel like it's Rogue season?
It's the distilled essence of stress.
Yes, yes. And we should say this is all in the family for you.
Yes, yes. I'm a previous executive director before I started writing for the Munro Review. And my husband, Jaguar Bennett, is both on the board, he's a board of directors, and a performer. So yeah, for about a decade now, it's been double duty for us in the household, Rogue Festival. Now I am doing a reading, which is a very small, little teeny tiny show, and I'm writing reviews.
So I know that I talk to people all the time who don't know what the Rogue is. I'm always astonished. It's been around so long. I just figure that everybody's is Rogue literate.
Right.
What's your quick explanation?
Pattern?
Yeah, your pattern.
Well, the first thing that we always tell them is that it's Fresno's Fringe Festival, right? And that's, of course, why you don't know about it, is because it's on the fringe. It's not in the center of things, it's on the fringe. But a fringe festival is a lot like a music festival in that you sort of pay one ticket price to get in. For us, that's a wristband. And that's $6. And then you pay for each individual show that you choose to go to. And there are like more than 50 different shows to choose from, 200 performances over 6 weeks in 10 different venues in the Tower District, so they're all within walking distance. And there's 30 minutes in between each show, and they're only an hour long. So that's a lot to take in, but what that means is you can show up at noon on a Saturday and go to your first venue, get your wristband, buy your ticket, grab a program. Hello, program.
Very nice program, by the way.
And then choose your next show and then head off to the next one. And all the tickets are between $7 and $15, which is less than a trip to Taco Bell.
Tell us a little bit about the first weekend versus the second weekend, because I think they kind of feel different. The first weekend is more for explorers who want to maybe branch out and find some new and interesting things.
Absolutely. If you have a more exploratory, as you say, a more adventurous spirit, and you're just sort of willing to show up, you're able to kind of just pop into a venue. There's some shows will sell out, but there's usually tickets available. So you show up 30 minutes before, you buy your ticket right there, if you're just kind of spontaneous and interested in all that. And it's very much about settling where the word of mouth is going to come from. These performers depend upon people talking in line before shows to find out what their next show is. And so all of those people are kind of going and becoming the tastemakers of the festival, because the audiences can give reviews on our website, and a lot of people review that to find out. So those are the folks the first weekend. The second weekend, we have, what we call the sort of single day ticket people. And those are the people who, they've got kids at home. They've got, the grandparents for one day, and they're going to go get all the Rogue in on one day or 2 evenings and get it done. And they've got it all plotted out. They know exactly which venue they're going to at which time and where they can get a cocktail in between.
So they've heard from their friends, their family, whatever. This is a good show. They feel a little more comfortable going to something that comes with a recommendation.
And that's just the way that audiences are in any kind of arts-oriented thing. There's some people who are more comfortable with what they're familiar with, or that it's something like what they're familiar with. And then there are other people who are willing to try anything. And that's the beauty of the Rogue. There's something for almost everyone. And the Rogue, you can see the best thing you've ever seen, and the very next show will be the worst thing you've ever seen. And that's part of the fun. And you're also not out a ton of money,
And also not a ton of time.
Yes.
So even if it is maybe not the best thing you've seen, it's only going to last for a certain amount of time.
But I always think that even if it's not the best thing you've ever seen, it's still worthwhile, because you get to see something new and different right here in Fresno. Most of these people write their own work and perform it, and that doesn't happen too often here.
So fill us in on the different types of performers. There's basically 2 groups or categories, right? You've got your out-of-towners.
Yes.
And you've got your locals.
Yes. The whole point to the Rogue Festival is we wanted to give local artists a chance to do their own work and present their own work in a way that was accessible to them. But they still need an audience, right? So we bring in out-of-towners so that people can kind of get that smattering of what's happening out there in the world, too. And then the local artists get to kind of compare themselves to the out-of-towners who do this professionally, many of them. They go on a tour, on a circuit, and they perform professionally all over the world. So we get to kind of test ourselves and our mettle up against the out-of-towners, and that's fun.
It's fun because you can see some of the same performers from year to year, and it's also fun just to get to know them a little and to talk to them about their life. I mean, this is like the life of a nomad.
Yes.
These guys, some of them sleep on people's couches for the majority of the year.
Yes, we provide billets, is what, it's like the military term for a lot of our out-of-towners. But we get a huge repeat number of because they love Fresno so much. They come in and they're like, this is amazing. These people are all so friendly and they love what we're doing and they're so happy we're here. And, you know, the orange trees are in blossom and the crepe myrtle are starting to bloom, and it's really a good time of year to show off Fresno. But they really enjoy it, so they always come back. And it's also a good place for them to test their new material. So we get a lot of the brand new stuff at Rogue.
There's something about the size of Fresno that is really an advantage in this case. I once tried to go to, San Francisco Fringe Festival. Of course, nobody has any idea that's even going on.
Yes.
In Fresno, there's like a feeling in the air. It's like the Tower District, people are walking the streets. It feels like an event.
Yeah, and it does. And it's both a quiet neighborhood event, not quiet, it's not always quiet, but it's a very distinct neighborhood event that we open the doors to everybody else in the arts community, the people who love arts, to come, please come down. You can come during the daytime, there's shows going on all hours, so you can come down, you can get a flavor of it and see something different. But yes, they're also very friendly. There are people who know each other. They get together at Goldstein's afterwards, or at Lucy's Lounge, and just sit and talk about the shows. And you really get that artistic bohemian feeling.
Just to let people know as well, we're talking about a range of different types of shows. So music.
Yeah, so theater, usually short theater, under an hour. Acoustic music typically. Most of them are Fresno-based. Dance shows, magic, cabaret, burlesque, stand-up comedy, some clowning, some things that have no category whatsoever, like Strangely and his accordion. You talk about a peripatetic guy. He's one of the most interesting guys on the circuit, because he basically just took his accordion and went on a trip to Norway and got on a ship for 6 months with a bunch of sailors to play his accordion. He got a grant.
Wow.
But he comes back most years.
And again, just a wide variety. I know that in your upcoming story, you mentioned these, like at the very top, you mentioned 2 different acts. Tell us about that range.
I opened up the program, and it happened to be the first page that I opened it up to, and there were 2 shows sitting side by side in the same venue on the same page in this thing, and one of them was Janice Noga Sings for Love of Country, and the other one was My Dead Uncle's Porn Collection. And I thought, only at the Rogue Festival. Only at the Rogue Festival
because you do that extreme.
Yeah.
So tell us, for the Munro Review, are you going to be offering some picks? What's your?
So there are, in my story, there are a couple of themes that always sort of turn up every year, and they're unofficial. They're just the thing that's in the water that you start to see. There's 5 of these shows, right? One year we had 5 magic acts, and that seemed like a little too many. But hey, who am I? But we have a couple of things, like there's some naming conventions that are happening that are kind of funny, where now all of a sudden all of the performers are putting their name in the title of their shows, including my husband. And it looks very academic. It's Jaguar Bennett, Sweetness and Light. But there's a whole bunch of those. There's a number of shows that are coming back, that have returned. So if you didn't see it the first time, you'll be able to see it now. One of them, Martin Dockery's Wanderlust, he brought here 16 years ago. Wow. And it's never come back. He hasn't done it again, because he normally comes back with new material every year. So he's doing that one again, along with 2 other shows. So there's certain chances that you get to see how the shows evolve. Les Kirkendall's The Real Black Swan, he did that here originally. He got it to LA, he got to workshop it and perform it in LA, and then he took it to Dublin, Ireland, and now he's bringing it back here. So I'm kind of interested to see how it's changed, how it's evolved. Also locally, the folks at Selma Arts Center who did Dysfunction, they're bringing that back in. So it's sort of being transferred, so to speak, to the Rogue Festival. So if you missed it at Selma Arts Center, you'll be able to see it at Rogue.
that is so fun to be able to see a show in different incarnations.
Yeah.
Well, we could sit here and talk about Rogue for hours and hours. Any advice for a first-time roguer?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you just don't know if you've got the time or whatever, just go through that program, see if something that is comfortable, and then just go down and get the vibe of the space. If you do have time to do a couple of evenings or a day, I like to tell people choose one thing that you know you're going to like, choose one thing that you're not so sure you're going to like, and then choose another one that is maybe outside of your comfort zone. If you normally see a theater show, go see a dance show. If you're normally a dance person, go see a magic show. See something that's out of your normal genre.
It's all about the variety. Well, great. We are going to take a quick break, but when we return, we are going to be talking to URHere Theater, which, and talk about a transition here, is part of the Rogue Festival.
Yes, they are.
Can you stick around?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, fantastic.
What's up, Fresno Internet people? I'm Brian.
I'm Brody Match from DumDrum.com, and we're here to help remind people about Sweet Fest 4 coming up November 7th, going down at Starlight at Tower District.
Yep.
So some people might be on the fence about making a sweet, so we're here to show you how easy it can be and how fun it can be.
It's really easy.
Yes, and we're going to show you right here, right now, live. We're going to do a sweet here. So sit back, enjoy, and check this out.
Here we go.
And this is Toy Story Sweeted. According to my Nava computer...
Just shut up. Just shut up, you idiot.
Sheriff, there's no time to panic.
This is the perfect time to panic. I'm lost. Andy's gone. They're going to move in 2 days, and it's all your fault.
My fault? My fault? If you didn't push me out the window in the first place...
Oh, yeah? Well, if you hadn't showed up in your stupid little cardboard box spaceship and ruined everything in my life that was important to me...
Don't talk to me about importance. Because of you, the entire security of this universe is in jeopardy.
What? What are you talking about?
Right now, poised at the edge of the galaxy, Emperor Zurg has been building a weapon with the destructive capacity to annihilate an entire planet. And I alone have the information that reveals the weapon's voluminous. And you, my friend, are getting between me and my rendezvous with Star Command.
You are a toy! You aren't the real Buzz Lightyear. You're an action figure. You are a child's plaything.
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity. Farewell.
Yeah, well, good riddance, you loony.
And Steve. All right, you see, that's all it took. So remember, deadline for entries for Sweet Fest 4 is on Wednesday, November 4th. So get to us. Go to dumdrum.com for more information. Go to sweetfest.com for more information and see previous entries. And if you have any other questions, feel free to email us at thedumdrum@gmail.com or email me directly at brodymatch@gmail.com. Tell everyone, get your friends out here, and we'll have a good old time.
See you at the Sweet Fest.
Peace.
Welcome back to the Munro Review. Heather Parish is still here, but we also have our guest Renee Newlove, director of the new URHere Theater production of Spilled Dictators, along with actor Donna Halliburton. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
I'm just very impressed with my transition from the last segment to this segment. We were talking about Rogue, and your show is in the Rogue, but it's kind of a special thing, right? Because
it is,
because
yes.
You're also representing the URHere Theater company.
Correct. We are representing both URHere Theater as well as an off-Rogue venue.
Okay.
And so Jane Day and myself decided to put together a group of shows, to bring in off-Rogue, and URHere Theater kind of came right in and was a perfect fit for our space. And URHere Theater is an established theater company that kind of got its beginnings and spawned out of the 2020 pandemic, where Julie Lucero kind of brought us from the backyard onto the stage.
Right. You all would get together in a backyard because of COVID. And
correct.
That's a wonderful evolution.
It is. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. I've been a part of it since the backyard. And it's been a really good time. We, of course, kind of read the those cutting edge scripts, the things that you don't normally see on stage. And URHere Theater, definitely in Fresno, brings a lot of that that type of theater that you're not going to see GCP do, or even sometimes Fresno State or Fresno City. And so it's kind of the unnamed sung hero theater company.
So tell us a little about the venue. It's not the patio.
It's not
at
the patio.
Veni Vici, but it's the space that used to be Raging Records?
Correct,
okay.
yes. So originally, so it was the first location of Raging Records, and then it was Fulton Street Art. And it was that kind of space. And so it's this really kind of funky L-shape venue. It will seat about 40-ish people. But yeah, it's in between the front door of Veni Vidi Vici's and Tower Health.
Okay.
And so it's right there, right off the front. And it's really nice to kind of be able to go back and forth between the venue and our little space. And we have multiple people coming in, a lot of names that have been familiar to Rogue, including Jane Day and John Bennett, Shane Scurvy Spears. And those people, and and then we have URHere Theater coming in. And it's been a lot of fun, to kind of both run the venue in a shadow of kind of what Jane and I used to do with Rogue and how we used to do things, as well as like run the venue. And so we've had fun kind of coming back and just being like, we wanted to be more involved. And so that's why we took on the venue. And then URHere was already able to kind of come in and connect with us, and we had that space. And so when URHere approached me to direct, it was a very easy ask. It was very easy. I was like, oh, you want me to direct a piece that's in the space already? Like, sure. Well, that's easy. And then I don't have to leave the venue.
Right.
So that makes it really nice.
So, Donna, this is kind of a return to the Fresno theater scene for you.
It is
about 10 years.
About that,
since we last saw you. Can you introduce the show for us? What is Spilled Dictators?
Spilled Dictators is a show that takes place in an unnamed country, could be anywhere, and it's shortly after the death of their unnamed leader, who could be described as a dictator. And it's just two government agents interrogating one of the citizens, and he does not know why.
So you are one of the agents then?
Yes, Inspector Grieg, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
she is the main agent.
All right. Is this, how do you describe this show, Renee? Is it a satire? Is it scary?
It's political
dystopian?
satire.
Is it?
I don't necessarily think that it's dystopian. It's definitely modern day. We talk about iPhones and things like that.
Okay.
And there's a little hint of the nostalgia of what once was, as one of the characters was kind of watching reruns of Three's Company. But it's very satire based. And it's heavily politically satired.
Okay.
But the thing about it is it's not American. It's not meant to be a play that is staged in America. And so that's kind of been the tricky part, because I think that's been sort of the trick that we've talked about throughout the whole entire process, is we don't want anybody to think that we're talking about what's happening currently in the United States, but ultimately there's room to reflect about what's happening in the United States and to see some similarities.
Interesting. Do your characters, is there an accent involved? Like you mentioned that it's not American.
Yeah, nope,
accent?
not at all. No, the point is it is an unnamed country.
Unnamed country, okay.
Yes, it is an unnamed country, and the playwright very specifically is where he kind of got his inspiration from. Andrew Rosedale, who is a great playwright. This piece is fun.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of fun. She has so many lines.
Just a few.
The start to finish, it's about a 30-minute piece, and Inspector Grieg does a lot of the talking and whatnot. And there are some very high comedy satirical pieces that kind of come through with ice cream and a candy bar, but at the same time, it very much is not meant to be like, this is the United States and we're talking about the current president and or anything like that. That is definitely not the implication.
And you do have a talkback session after each performance, so that'll give people a chance to debrief. And
and it's interesting, and the question that we're kind of circling around is it better to be safe or is it better to be right? And that's through the process of what we're doing on stage. That's kind of the big question that I have for the audience, and that's kind of been one of the questions that we've circled around as a cast. Is it better to be safe, or is it better to be right? And it spawned off of something that Inspector Grigg says towards the end of the piece, and so yeah, it's definitely PG-13 with some language, not necessarily content, but the concept, definitely you need to be able to think about the piece for a minute. And so not exactly family friendly.
Okay. Sounds like it fits pretty well into the Rogue.
Correct. Rogue is kind of that smorgasbord of,
Sure.
You're going to kind of get a lot of different elements and a lot of different things with it.
Right.
And so, this lines up very, very nicely.
And so, Donna, I understand that the cast watched a couple of movies to sort of put you in the right mood.
Yes.
Can you tell us about one of those movies?
They're both so good. I mean, Wag the Dog is sort of a classic.
Yes.
I mean, everybody, obviously. But Death of Stalin is just, it's next level. You get to see actors that particularly maybe are in a different genre and doing something that's very comedic, but it's not like ridiculous, over-the-top comedy. They sort of play it a little bit straighter, but it is ridiculous in just doing that this is the norm, this is how we behave. And it was nice to see that you could do this political satire and not be sort of zing, it's comedy, that you could do it a different way. And so we really enjoyed both of those. Yeah, for sure.
It is kind of a different frame of mind.
Yes.
That you have to get.
Yes.
Yeah.
That you have to get into.
Well, and that's kind of the trick to it. When URHere approached me to direct the piece, and ultimately this is a political satire. My first thought was, what is satire? How do I do this? How do I direct this? And I know that there have been so many different films that are hilariously satirical. Especially with the politics intent in mind. And I also, I reached out to Marcel Nunes. He is kind of my touchstone when I'm approaching anything that I'm not necessarily sure on. And so I asked him, I was like, what are the satire films? Because he has watched everything. He has seen everything, he's watched everything.
And for those who don't know
Marcel is the founder of the Rogue Festival.
Founder of the Rogue.
Yeah.
Kind of a
godfather of it all.
Fresno legend. Yes. Definitely.
Yeah. And he's one of my mentors. And so I very much so like to touch base with him and kind of check in and whatnot. So I reached out to him and I was like, what are your satire films? What are your suggestions? And he's the one that directed me to The Death of Stalin, which is hysterical and so much fun to watch. And then, of course, I had to throw in Wag the Dog as the classic that it is. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Remind us, what are the run dates for your show?
So we run February 27th and 28th, and then we are March 6th and 7th over at the Grove at Vinny's,
The Grove at Vinny's.
Yeah, it's our space that is sponsored by Hobbs Grove and in collaboration with Vinny Vidi Vicis.
Okay, and fantastic. We are going to do a quick segment about just all the local theater that's coming. I'm hoping you can kind of help out.
Sure.
Heather and I have been talking about this, mostly trying to come up with a schedule for one of us seeing each of these shows.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't.
This is what happens in Fresno. It seems like everything dumps out at the same time.
It's kind of at the same time. Yeah, it peaks and valleys.
Part of it is the university college system adds to it.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm going to go through, these are the shows that we kind of know of, and I just want to kind of do almost like a word association sort of thing.
Sure.
And if I were a theater goer who wants to go see something new and different, what we're kind of looking for some clues. So,
Yeah.
you know, family, bizarre, you know, that
for sure.
kind of thing. So, and these are not necessarily in the order of appearance, although that would have been a good thing for me to put it together. Didn't get that far. But we will start with Selma Arts Center, The Play That Goes Wrong. That's going to open March 20th.
Yeah, Levi Hill. Mark Gonzalez actually just posted also that he's worked with the cast with some improv things.
Okay.
And anything that is the play that goes wrong is going to bring hysterical and hilarity.
It's farce.
Yeah.
Farce. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Farce.
Yeah, absolute farce.
Yeah.
Very popular.
Yes.
On
Very broad,
Broadway.
very accessible.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but this, I believe this is the one act.
Yes.
And so it will be shorter in
Okay.
length versus something that is longer, which ultimately lends to the ability for laughter.
Sure.
And those things.
Sure.
So,
Sure. It's hard to sustain hilarity for 2 acts, isn't it? It's,
Well, noise is off. Sure tries.
yeah.
yeah, in 3.
Okay, so next is Clue the Musical. Has anybody seen Clue the Musical?
No, but the first thing that comes to my brain is David Hyde Pierce. You know, I said that, and it's not the right play.
It's not the right play. Because that
not
would
the
be
right play.
Curtains,
That would be
which
Curtains.
is actually later this year. Yeah.
Yeah, that's-
Have you seen Clue?
I have seen, so I've played the game
Yes.
and I've seen the movie.
Yeah.
But the musical I have not yet seen, and so I am a longtime subscriber to the Broadway to Fresno season tickets, and I cannot wait. I'm so
And
very
it's by,
excited.
I think it's the same composer who did like I Love You, Perfect.
Yeah,
No Change. So
yeah.
it's really
It's gonna be like high, happy, and like there's gonna be those moments,
Yeah.
and I cannot wait for some of the characters. You know, Miss Scarlett's always a personal favorite.
you know, Colonel Mustard, he'd better get a good song.
100%.
That's all I can say.
100%.
Donna, did you ever play Clue?
The game, yes. And my younger sister was obsessed with the film, so I think I've seen it 1,000 times.
Okay.
So yes, looking forward to
This
the
was
musical.
just, it was never a Broadway musical. It played off Broadway. But
Right.
that's kind of fun to see something.
Would you like to review the show?
You got it.
Okay, next up from Broadway and Fresno. And actually, Broadway and Fresno is also a little bit guilty of packing everything into like 3 months.
It's like bam, bam,
Yeah.
bam. Yeah.
So they are bringing Hadestown. And I know that,
Good show.
Descending.
I know that is a highly anticipated
Yes.
show.
That was a great show.
Heather, how would you describe that for somebody who doesn't
Okay,
know?
so you know the Orpheus descending myth, and this is actually has the mythological characters in it, and it's a huge variety of styles of music, very very literate book, and the Orpheus descending myth is the same myth that like Moulin Rouge is, or La Boheme, or any of those classic stories about the lovers who have to sort of descend into this dark world in order to try and save themselves, and then everything goes wrong. But it's based on that, but it's got all kinds of fantastic music and amazing characters, and yeah. I mean, it was the rage. You can tell.
Renee's excited about
Yes.
the season.
I'm so very excited. Well, so it's interesting at Woodward Shakes when we were doing Othello, I believe it was. We were backstage and Hannah brought in this piece and she goes, "Oh my gosh, you have to listen to this song." And so while we're all doing our makeup, we're listening, and it was the pre-Broadway, off-Broadway, it was the concept album of Hadestown. And so being able to listen to it and conceptually and whatnot, and then ultimately when Toph and Claudio were doing it for the teen version over at Selma Arts, I was the dramaturg. And so it's Orpheus and Eurydice, and that story with a lot of very familiar characters that are want to be seen, and it's set in this just delicious 1920s South, and so it's very big brass sounds, and the just the costumes are very lush, and it's just that gorgeous classic kind of thing, and it's a very sparse set because you really don't need a lot.
Right.
And so, so I cannot, personally, I cannot wait. When Reeve Carney came in and was on Broadway for kind of their first run, I just melted. He actually played over at Strummers right after his stint on Penny Dreadful. And such a beautiful voice. And they have since kind of filtered through some of the who's who's of the male tenors, as well as, you know, these female actresses and things that, just kind of melts my face, and I'm fully prepared.
Fantastic. Now that's April 7th through 8th, so not too far away from Clue. Opening March 13th is Fade at Fresno State.
The only thing that comes to mind. Go ahead.
I haven't heard of that one.
Nothing about
I haven't heard of it. So the only thing that comes to mind is a film technique.
Okay.
So I think it has something to do with film.
Okay. We probably did not do our research on this one. I believe Gina is directing.
Gina is directing it.
Yes. So we'll check in with her.
Yes, we will check in with Gina very
see
soon.
what that's about, because that's opening pretty soon.
Yeah, an act of disappearing, or an act of like the process of disappearing.
Yeah.
I would think. And with Gina directing, I would think that it would be something that is highly cultural.
Right. Exactly.
And so, yeah.
We all know Cyrano. That opens March 27th. No.
February 27th.
February 27th
Yes.
at GCP.
Yes.
This Friday. Yeah, this
And it's an adaptation done by Lori Pisano.
fantastic.
So
Yeah.
And Ted Nunes is playing Cyrano. And so he is very tall and has such a great stage presence.
Right.
So I have heard that he will have the nose.
Okay. So she didn't write the nose out. That's good to know.
the nose stays.
And that's always exciting to have a classic title that kind of gets a refresh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. City College, again, is putting all of its stuff together. They have The Comeuppance, which opens March 6th, and I and You, which opens March 20th.
Yes.
Both of them, I understand, are youthful and probably full of all the angst that young people
The rest of us have
experience.
tried to leave behind.
Right.
Excuse me. Yeah, The Comeuppance, with the cast that they have, from what I've seen, Wade Pearson and Claudio Lasso, and Brianna Hardcastle, and I don't think I have that name right because my brain is not.
Villanueva Hardcastle.
There we go. Yes. So I've seen kind of what they've posted on social media about working on the show, and when they haven't been able to get into the space. I know for one day Fresno City lost power, and so there wasn't power, and so they all just went to one of their front porches and rehearsed, which is their set.
It's not my the setting takes place on a porch, but they used to live above me in the apartment in Tower District that I live, and they've recently got a new house. So as they were moving into the house, that's the porch that they rented in their new house.
Yeah, I
What
love
a
that.
small world.
You know,
You live in the tower.
yeah, you live in the tower, and theater's incestuous. But it's been nice. You know, they also had a Zoom. They had a Zoom kind of thing with Hitori and whatnot. It's packed with power actors.
Oh yeah.
You know, it literally is kind of some of the who's who that has been a part of what Fresno City has done recently.
Yeah.
They recently also had a huge showing at ACTF.
Yeah, they did. They've
They
done
sent
very
a
well.
lot of people, and they did very well there. And we normally see that from Fresno State. But,
Sure.
Fresno City has been able to kind of do some things, and it's been nice to see, you know, because Fresno City is putting up some amazing things that are equal to and on the same level as what Fresno State has been doing. And so it's been really nice.
Yeah. Well, so if you've got those dates free.
Yeah, the weekend after
March.
Rogue.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to go see Cyrano, and I'm going to go see The Comeuppance.
And then finally on my list is the Buddy Holly story, GCP, that opens March 27th.
Champagne for everybody.
Yeah.
That's a champagne show.
Yeah. No, that sounds like
You go, you have a good time. Champagne show.
Definitely.
Yeah, and Mark, I actually saw Mark Standriff recently, and I asked him, I was like, how's it going? Mark Standriff is the director of the piece, and I was like, I saw him before auditions, and he was very worried, about who was going to show up, and he apparently has a lot of new faces for GCP that are going to be in the cast and on stage.
Good,
and so,
fun.
and so he has somebody who sounds exactly like Buddy Holly.
Wow.
And so it's a very exciting thing, and it. From what he was saying, it's going to be some live instruments on stage.
Oh, okay.
Which for Roger Ruckus is not necessarily a normal thing.
Yeah.
For them, you usually don't get live music.
We don't have enough room.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No,
They can't do the Sweeney Todd with all the cellos.
So Donna, you've heard this whole list. What do you want to go see? What's your top?
My top one, I think, would be Comeuppance.
Okay.
Definitely. I've heard lots of good things about that.
Yeah, from what you told me about the cast, that's...
Yeah, heavy
always a
hitters,
good
and I've heard good things, so...
Well, it's fun to be able... It's an embarrassment of riches, right?
Absolutely.
It's fun to be able to talk about all these choices. Come back in August. I don't know if they're going to be the same.
That's when we'll be taking a break.
Exactly. Well, thank you all for being with us tonight. And that wraps it up for this month's episode of the Munro Review on CMAC. Be sure to keep up online at munroreview.com for previews, giveaways, profiles, reviews, and more. A big thank you to our volunteer crew. A thank you to our guests. And for all of you, please keep exploring and supporting the local art scene. We'll see you next time.